So we've got another live match. So today I'm at Harescombe Fisheries, which is only just up the road from my house, to be honest with you. So this is a private club match. This is not an open, run by Steve Heath. So cheers, Steve, for running the match. Drew Peg 9, which is not really, in my opinion, the best area to be. I know sometimes it throws up, so not denying that. But we've got every other peg, so it's not like I'm in the middle on my own. So there's 12 of us fishing, so Steve decided to split it 2 sections of 6. So that's how he's done the payout, which is probably a good shout, to be fair. So as you've seen, I haven't fed anywhere else. What I've done is I shipped it straight across the far bank on pellets. So, and also I'm looking around just to see what other people are actually doing, because I don't know the venue that well. So I just want to feel my way into it. So I've literally just tapped in about 10 4mm pellets and fishing a big 6mm expander over the top, because there is a lot of like little fish which you really want to avoid if possible, because you ain't going to go nowhere catching them. So the idea is I can't ruin anything because I haven't fed anything anywhere else, so I can just gauge it. My plan of attack was to fish paste short, meat down the edges, casters down the middle and pellets long, and potentially change it to a meat line if necessary. I'll talk you through what I do anyway. So I've just missed a bite there. I have got a longer lash between my pole tip and my float. So what I mean by longer lash, a longer line than normal, because it is really windy. Also, what do you call it? Oh, I've got one now. Happy days. Also, the rig's a little bit heavier than normal as well, just to get that better presentation. I'll probably potentially get more bites on a lighter rig, but you run the risk of maybe foul looking and stuff. So I'd sooner have a heavier rig, longer line, and the bites that I do get to tend to be a lot more cleaner. So last thing we do is end up, foul looking fish and getting frustrated and losing your way.
Tony, you're a machine.
So setup wise is just 018 main line, so quite a stiff line, and a 3-inch hook length to 012, just using a 1.5 elastic through just a short kit. The short kits on the browning poles are quite long. Is it a short kit? It might not be a short kit. There might be a long kit actually. I might be telling lies. I think it is a normal long kit actually, so I'll take that back. So this is an F1, I believe, my first fish. So just take your time. Last thing we do is end up losing it.
Reckon that wind's a nightmare, isn't it?
Fish don't have to fight quite hard, especially on light gear. It's good fun, it is.
Right in the chin, this is.
I believe I've hooked this actually right underneath the chin. So that's probably why it's giving me a little bit more jip than normal. So quite a good stamp of fish at Harescombe, these F1s, they're growing quite a bit. So I just took the 6mm expander pellet just through the barrel. And literally, as you can see, just a pinch of 4mm and a couple of micros, just because I wasn't getting plagued by little fish.
Well, I said I had £120 yesterday, weighed 127.
So still haven't fed anywhere else yet. Be mindful that Tony next to me, aka the lion, is loose feeding quite a lot of maggots down the middle. So I'm going to gauge on his response. I haven't got any maggots, but I've got some casters left over from yesterday, which I didn't use. So, bad sign really, just caught a little tiny roach. So, probably putting them micros in wasn't a good idea. And just dropped it. in the net. So, not sure what the winning weights are going to be, to be fair. Looking at the like Facebook page, normally sort of £40 a good weight on the Thursday affordable, so they run opens every Thursday. So I would suggest going on like their Facebook page and having a look, because then you can see what pegs have done well. So I always have a look. I'm always a bit nosy. It's normally on Gemma Phillips or Nigel Phillips. I normally put the results on. So the wind is a bit of a nightmare, but the same for everyone. Well, almost everyone. And obviously, I'm glad I was in the ripple. As it turned out, the top end of the lake did struggle, as expected. Just, fish just follow the warm wind, especially this time of year. So I was lucky to be the right end of a lake. So with the target weight maybe been £40, £50, then obviously it's just worth just being patient. So already thinking this ain't right, because the target fish I'm catching are way too small. So just put a piece of meat on it if you notice that. The same rig. I've actually moved slightly to my right as well, only by a couple of yards. It's the same depth all the way across on the far bank. So I plumbed up properly all over the peg before the match started, when we were kitting up. So straight away I'm not getting quite so many bites. So just changing rigs. So even longer lash. I believe it's a slightly bigger hook as well. So just started loose feeding casters. Alright, so really frustrating, just caught a skimmer on meat. Got 6mm pieces of meat on. I'm feeding 6mm. That's a better response. So just caught a smallish F1. So looking around the lake, no one's really like running away with it. Miguel on the end was catching quite well. So on peg 14, I want to say. So he's catching really well, which is kind of expected, to be honest. But not panicking. I wouldn't panic anyway, it's only fishing. And I understand Ronaldo's doing alright as well on peg 16. So just mixing my paste up. I'm thinking about essentially fishing short. Never really caught very well on paste in this lake. Yeah. We've just looked at a decent fish, which has gone absolutely berserk. So I've shipped down to the top kit, which is quite brave, but I'm concerned that it's just going to snag me on the far bank. And this turns out to be a decent fish fouled up, which you'll see in a sec. So this is all sped up. It could take a while to get it out. I'm amazed, to be honest with you, the little length didn't break. It just shows what sort of punishment you can give your tackle. And if you notice, the float is right underneath the elastic where it's gone through all the vegetation on the inside. It's a bit disappointed I didn't net it then. Really fighting hard. Obviously spring fed as well. Fish are really healthy. So just not to panic. There's no real snags on the inside, to be honest. There's a few overhanging tufts and stuff, but they're not like full of roots or anything. Which is a good job, really. Otherwise I definitely would have been in trouble. So there's me saying about fishing a heavier rig and less foul looking and stuff, but even still with a better presentation you still run the risk of potentially foul looking fish. I mean, it could have been a carp just swimming through the pegs. It's quite deep on the far bank. It's about maybe 18 inches, 2 foot. It's a decent fish. The last thing you want to do now is rush it, and all that time you've played it, it comes off, and that means all that time is wasted. So obviously, don't want to lose it. It is a decent sized fish. There he goes, right in the tail. So what I'm trying to do is get it as close as I can and try and get the net underneath it. So obviously you want to try and net it head first, not halfway through its body or anything like that. Obviously this is not ideal. I didn't mean to foul up the fish.
Well,
Got the net right underneath it.
Yeah, probably coming from field lake. It's about £6.
Probably a good £6, which is a good sized fish.
Look at my tail.
Look right in my tail. It's a
Don't
beautiful
tell
opposite
anyone.
to that straight out. And this is really important. I'm rubbing my line now to check it and make sure there's no damage, because it's gone through like potentially, well, it has gone through bushes and
I
stuff.
almost went past
You just
Tony.
worry to make sure there's no like damage in the line, because last thing I want to do now is ship out, hook another decent sized fish and ends up breaking my line. So just grabbed another top kit to make sure that I'm definitely at the correct depth. I know I could tip exit, but maybe I should have, but I don't. So just use other rigs to use them as gauges. Then back on them with the meat again.
As he's playing one now. Well, that's red hydro and that's quite a big fish. Got a lot of professional poker players here. Yeah. What was it, Tone? An F1?
Yeah.
Were you at the far bank? Oh, nightmare, isn't it? I wish you'd trim the bits off where you fish. Well, you got to fish a longer line, because otherwise, if you fish a short line, you just blow the float everywhere. Fish a longer line, you got to strike, and you got more prone to hit these brambles.
So I've decided to start fishing casters down the middle because Alvis next to me, aka
I love
Tiger,
this
is
wind.
catching pretty well
I love this wind.
on his jigger. As you can see, I'm a bit of a mare with the wind.
What? No, I got 3.
So I've come on the cast line a little bit sooner than I'd have liked. I didn't feed casters to
No,
begin
about
with because
6.
I haven't got that many. I've only got, I think I had 2 and a bit pints. So we'll call it 2.5 pints. So I've only hooked the caster on like a normal hook. So no bandit caster or lasso caster or anything like that. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting another shot on the float because the bristle was just sticking out just a little bit too much, and because there's so much wind, I just felt the presentation wasn't perfect. So I literally now got the rig. This will be like not overshotted, but this will be literally streamlined, so it would just be with a surface tension. So a number 10 shot can make all the difference. And I've caught a little roach. Even Alvis is catching the odd roach as well on maggots. So what I've learned over the years is you've got to persevere sometimes with things and just make it work, because it will. You will reap the rewards. So don't just bin things off. It might take a while to build that up, get that confidence.
Well, what you got, Jay?
So just spin it over. You've just got a little bulk. So just spin it over, making some noise. You're not allowed to tap here, as in hit the pole on top of the water. So again, a little bit frustrating just catching these little fish. That's landed in my net.
My carp net.
We've got 3 nets in. Because it's so windy now, I'm just getting my pole off the roller and actually putting it on the ground. Even though I've got a bucket of water to stabilise my roller, I'm just worried that it might blow over. So the last thing I want to do is end up breaking a big, well, I don't want to break any sections, but the last thing I want to do is end up breaking a number 8 section and cost you a fortune. So just going to feed some meat down the side. So the wind's quite bad. I feel I'm falling a little bit behind. We're about 50 minutes into the match, so I'm actually going to start pinging pellets now to the far bank. Pinging hard pellets. So these are Coppins 4mm, which are a lot more dense than what Scratton pellets are. And I'm actually going to, when I need to rest my casting line, I'm actually going to go across on hard pellets. So I'm actually going to feed 4mm and fish 4mm. So on a lasso, which turned out to be quite good.
Well, I've got 3 F1s and a carp. Sorry, I'm playing poker. Yeah, I'm absolutely slaughtering it.
keep him busy. I'm just going to build up that far bank line, only feeding one line with our pellets on the far bank. I'm trying to ping them as tight as I can, right into them boards. And sometimes you know when the fish are there because they literally like suck the pellets off the boards. Even though they've got sinking pellets, they just like hang in the grass and stuff. And also because the lake's quite clear because it's spring fed, and it's only about 18 inches, maybe 2 foot across. And sometimes you just know there's fish there because you can physically see them, especially the carp because they're a lot bigger.
MPEG and loads of room.
So they sort of give themselves away, really. Missing loads of bites on this cast to shallow. Now I know the videos are going to run out, so I did actually in the end change it to lasso dead maggot. So I've loose fed casters, and I've literally lassoed a dead maggot, and oh my gosh, it was so much better. Finally hooked an F1 look. Just constantly feeding, little and often. Just casters, that's all, nothing special. And again, just got a nice light elastic, so 1.4. 1.4 Dan's elastic, whereas the other one was a 1.5 Vespi. So all I've done then, the match, because the video is going to run out soon, is I literally just rotated. So I just fished between casters, shallow, and whatchamacallit, loose feeding pellets on the far bank. Meat, I did try down the edge, didn't catch. I didn't even bother fishing pace short. I didn't want to do too much because you ain't got that much room. The pegs are only 13 meters wide, so I was worried if I tried to do too much, I'd ruin the peg, having lines everywhere. So I had a good day in the end. I weighed 98 pounds to win the match. Ronaldo, he was second with 81 pounds, and Mick Gale was third with 63 pounds. And the tiger next to me, to my right, had 61 pounds. So yeah, all in all, it's quite a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you soon.